Guys, welcome back to this week's episode. Today we're going to be talking about interest rates and how they're affecting everybody in the Atlanta housing market. So it's all good news. It's not all bad news. Actually, it's very good news, and we're going to be talking about it. And by probably about the end of the episode here, you're going to be seeing just how drastic of a savings you can get with interest rates right now compared to what they were. But first of all, I want to give a little dive into what happened the past couple years and how we've gotten from where we were in a super explosive 2021 market to where we're going at now in the 2024 market and a little bit onwards. So let's get into that. So to make a long story short, around 2020, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to really historic lows, almost around 0%. And ultimately, this caused mortgage rates to also be very low, around 2 to 3%. And this is really what caused the super historic boom that occurred in 2021 and the early half of 2022. But obviously, that creates a lot of problems with inflation. And from that inflation, the Federal Reserve has to respond again. And so they raised interest rates a ton. And mortgage rates went from a very nice 3% to almost 7%, and eventually by 2023 almost 8%, and a lot of people being well above that 8% because that's the average. And it really didn't find any relief until about now. So what has essentially happened now is that the Federal Reserve announced to cut interest rates back in August, and rates started to go down from there. And then around September, a lot of people thought it'd be cut by 25 basis points, when in actuality, it ended up being cut by 50 basis points. So this better, kind of more optimistic move and more aggressive move from the Federal Reserve caused rates to drop even more. And now we're sitting at a national average of around 6.2%, which is obviously quite high, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty average interest rate. We've seen this interest rate a ton of times, especially in the early 2000s. And God, let's not even start talking about the early 90s and late 80s with interest rates. They just totally go insane, and this is actually a great rate when you compare those. But obviously, prices have gone through the roof, so we need a ton of affordability coming from interest rates to make anything matter. So let's actually get into that right now and see what the average price point of something that's at $425,000 in the Atlanta area has changed in just about 9 months over the course of this year. So originally, last year in the winter, you could expect to pay around $2,500 for your principal and interest, not including taxes or HOA, because those things can change all the time. So about $2,500 is pretty expensive for the average price point in Atlanta, Georgia. But now you have about $2,080 that you're getting at 6.2%. The $2,500 was at 8%. So this 6.2%, not even 2% drop, has leave almost $420 into people's pockets. And so that's a pretty big thing for a lot of people. And it can allow a lot of people to budget in their taxes, even some utilities into a property. But in the condo market, it has been huge. And there are significant changes even in the numbers. So that $420 is, especially around that price point, a lot of people's same HOA dues. A lot of HOA dues are even less than that. So it's basically like getting this very expensive monthly payment that people otherwise had and taking it out of the equation. Now, ultimately, yes, you can go buy other single family homes in the price point. Yeah, you can go have a lot of other options, and it all kind of washes out. But for a lot of people, this is helping them make it make sense to live in the city and find something new that they want to live close to work or close to something else. And it's very drastically changed the days on market for a lot of these condos. So let's get into the numbers a little bit just to show you what's going on. So if you take kind of the Buckhead going up Peachtree Road in Lindbergh kind of condos, they've been having a very tough time. It's seen a ton of them expire, seen a ton of them just have a long time sitting on market. They've had a tough time, but they've actually really started to drop as far as days on market goes from this. Originally, they were probably at like 80 days in average days on market. So you'd have a property on the market for around 80 days before you expected to get it off and unloaded and sold. And that's not even talking about the contractual time. So the contractual time is probably another 30 days on top of it. That's dropped from 80 days to 60 days now in this area, which is finding a ton of relief for the condo sellers in the area. But also, just looking into Midtown itself, which is usually a pretty good market for condos, it was having a 75-day on-market average before these interest rate cuts. And now it's seemingly dropping down to the floor, and you're seeing it more at around 55 days on market, which is obviously helping people, just the logistics of moving a ton, because you don't have to plan so far in advance to get your condo sold in the city. And it's, of course, helping everybody else out. When you look at the North Atlanta area, almost always when you get into the September time, you're going to find a huge spike in days on market. And you do have this small little hill of an increase in days on market as we go into the fall months. And it hasn't dropped like it has in the condo market, but that raised days on market has been dampened incredibly. So you're seeing it all over the place. You're seeing the affordability come into people's pockets and finding just a little bit of relief as we move forward and hopefully get more as we continue into 2025. So guys, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight on what it could feel like to either be a seller or a buyer in today's market and then moving forward. If you're a buyer, I would try to look at things right now. And now every real estate agent is obviously going to tell you that. My job is to sell houses, and I sell houses when people want to buy houses. So obviously, I would like people to buy them right now. But at the end of the day, inventory is very high, and the rates are significantly cheaper than they were before. And here's the thing, not a lot of people have started to jump off the fence yet. So that competition isn't there right now. So you have a lot of houses to choose from and not a lot of competition. It's kind of a nice recipe to be a buyer right now. Yeah, sellers are finding a little relief, but ultimately, it's still way nicer to be a buyer right now. It feels like that. And it's still only 3 days on market. 3 months of inventory for a lot of places. And it seems like it's still a buyer's market. It's quite odd. If you go in the condo market, it's about dead even. Even it was tipping over into the buyer's market for sure in the condo market. But the single family home market felt like buyers had a lot more choices, and it always made a lot of my sellers feel very nervous. But if you are a buyer, you have plenty of choices right now, but they'll start to come off as you get into the winter. And as they start to come off as you get into winter, more and more people are going to see videos like this talking about interest rates, and they're going to get into the game. They're going to jump off the fence, and they're going to start looking. So you're going to have your housing inventory go down, and you're going to have more buyers come into the market, and it's probably going to get very competitive if this continues into the spring. So guys, once you get prepared, if you need anybody, maybe the guy making this video is the right choice for you. But if you have someone trusted and you have someone that you like, by all means, talk to them about it and see what makes sense in this market. But guys, I hope this helps someone out because I thought this was great news. Just seeing it made me very optimistic myself because I myself am starting to look at something to get into hopefully here soon. And I'm so excited. This is the news that's coming to me when I'm on my own search. So I know exactly how you feel, and I hope this helped you out as well. But I'll let you guys get back to it. I'll try to put another condo tour out this week. And until then, I'll see you around. Thank you.